Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Today I have two brand new guests. In fact, this topic is very dear and close to my heart. I have spent 25 years of my life in this great city of Hyderabad and Secunderabad, and we are going to be talking about Hyderabad Liberation Day. And to talk about this, we have a perspective how it all started, and this is going down memory lane. We have two excellent guests. They are coming for the first time to our channel, so please welcome 𝗍𝗪𝗻 Reddy Garu and 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘆. Namaskar, gentlemen. How are you?
Namaskar, sir. All well. Thanks for that invitation.
Namaskar. Very nice to be on your channel.
Girishji, 𝗍𝗪𝗻, so this is something that I had in mind where we're going to talk about three phases. Like, viewers, it's not something like in 1948, Hyderabad got freed. A lot of work went behind the scenes for many decades before the writing was on the wall for the Nizam saying that ab nahi chalega. So for that, we are going to take a trip down memory lane here. We're going to go back to maybe about 60, 70 years before the actual action ended that happened in 1948. And that's going to be our first phase. Then we will keep moving time and you will understand the contributions, selfless contributions of many a leader and how this whole thing grew along. So I'm going to do less talking now. And first question that I'm going to ask is to Sri 𝗍𝗪𝗻 Reddy Garu. The question I have is, give us a little bit of time information at the beginning. How was it? I mean, let's say that 1870 or 1860, after the first war of independence. Talk to us from somewhere. Pick the timeline from there and talk us through what happened, 𝗍𝗪𝗻 Reddy Garu.
Fine. If we are talking about Hyderabad history, it's a bit complex history, and everyone has written in own way. But Arya Samaj played a pivotal role in terms of fighting for Swadharma and Swarajya. And if you look at the history of Arya Samaj, in 1875, Swami Dayanand Saraswati has founded Arya Samaj in Mumbai. And during that time, if you see, during that time, fabric of country was different. We were seeing a lot of conversions happening. We were seeing the society was plagued with a lot of evils in terms of, various reasons we can say it, in terms of education or in terms of, people were looking at a Western for something to have because they were trying to bring the Western education system to India. At that time, Bharat has produced one of the greatest sages, we can say, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, and he gave a call back to Vedas. Back to Vedas. In fact, he has, I can say that he has opened the treasure of Vedas to the common people. By doing so, what he has done is that he has built a self-confidence in the normal people of India, saying that we have a rich heritage and entire knowledge is there in Vedas. And let us go back to Vedas and learn the Vedas. And in fact, he has made it clear that every citizen of the country, every person in the Bharat, irrespective of caste, irrespective of gender, has a right to learn the Vedas. And you'll be surprised, he has so much of vision. He said that there should be compulsory education to the students or to the youngsters, children from age of 6 to 14 years. It's a mandatory education. And this was picked up by Government of India in 2010, saying education is must. And then today, Government of India is coming up with this new education policy where a lot of things have been picked up by what 𝗏𝗏𝗍 has said about 150 years ago. And there are many things what he has brought in terms of fighting for social evils. Education for women was important, and he has established many Kanya Pathshalas. His disciples have established many Kanya Pathshalas, and then he was against untouchability, bringing all people onto same platform with Vedic education. That was he profound, and he is built at saying that Bharat has a lot of pride in owning that heritage of Vedas. We can say, if you look at even in history, even when Shivaji Maharaj formed the Hindu Rashtra, we have seen the Bhakti movement and his Guru Ramdas playing a pivotal role. And same way, even if you look at how Sikh kingdom was established, once Guru Gobind came in and enlightening the people on the spiritual path. Same way it happened in India, across Bharat, when Swami Dhanand Saraswati came into picture, starting preaching the Vedas, and he has written a book called Satyagraha Prakash, that is still lighting the people. In fact, it has brought a lot of new social outlook and a different perspective of India and Indian education system and what is written in Vedas. This is about Swamiji, which has started in 1875, and it went across country. It reached Hyderabad also, and we can discuss on that part also.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for that introductory statement. So, one of his disciples, I think, Sri Shradhanand ji, was essential in taking this thing and establishing what I would call as a Gurukul system. For viewers, of some of the perspectives for you is, Macaulay abolished the Gurukul system in 1832 or something like that. So we are talking about 1870s, 1880s. So within 50 years, there was an attempt in India. There was an attempt in India to try and bring back the Gurukul system. Talk to us a little bit about what the contributions of Guru Shradhanand ji was, Devendra ji.
Swami Shradhanand was in fact, one of the tallest figure in terms of physical or in terms of morality, which has, created impact in a lot of Indians during that time. And he's one of the disciples of Maharishi Dhanand Saraswati, who took his cause forward. In terms of education, he started, establishing Gurukuls, and first Gurukul was established in Kangri, and it was declared as a university in 1962. When he started this one, in fact, Swami Shradhanand's actual name is Munshi Ram. Okay, he has, he started the journey of understanding spiritualism. He embraced different religions, but once he met Swami Dhanand Saraswati, he got the true sense of religion and purpose in life. Okay, then hence he followed Swami Dhanand Saraswati and established first, when his kid 𝗤𝗚𝗂𝘁𝗄𝑚𝑎𝑟𝑖 was started getting influence under Christian missionary, he understood that the education system of West is not only destroying the Vedic concepts of India, but also it has become a ground or source which is condemning the Indian practices, Indian customs, and is becoming a benchmark where it is, inspiring people to embrace path of Christianity. So that discussion with his kid made him to start establishing this university. And in fact, it was the toughest job for him to form this university at Kangri. It was dense jungle during that time near Haridwar, and he faced many challenges and then established, and he confronted with various leaders, and he has emphasis on Gurukul system, and it is still continuing. There are many Gurukuls which has been established by under him, and to build what Swami Shradhanand has done beyond education system is that he's continued the path of Swami Dhanand Saraswati. In fact, Swami Dhanand Saraswati was the first person to call India is for Indians in 1877 in Jalandhar meeting. Okay, before Bal Gangadhar Tilak said Swaraj mera janmasiddh adhikar hai, hum use hasil karenge, it was Swami Dhanand Saraswati who said India is for Indians, and a lot of his disciples picked up from there. Swami Shradhanand was no exception, and he took the path of Maharishi Dhanand Saraswati. In fact, if you look at, he not only brought, he gave one tool. Swami Dhanand Saraswati not only brought Hinduism and Vedic knowledge to everybody, but he introduced or brought a tool of Shuddhi, bringing back a person whom during those days, because the society was plagued with all that, superstitions and thoughts like that. If you are eating a non-veg, even by accidentally, you are losing your faith. If you are crossing the 7 seas, you are no more in Hindu. Then people were confused. His wife and kids were practicing Hindus. What about me? So during those days, Swami Dhanand Saraswati gave a tool to Hinduism, which Swami Shradhanand carried forward at a large scale. In fact, if you look at the life of Swami Shradhanand, not only in education system, he was there in terms of religious emancipation, in terms of political freedom. In fact, he was the first person to call Gandhiji as Mahatma when he met in 1915 at Kangri. And he was really tallest figure. And he was in freedom movement. I think during Rowlatt Act, he was participated in Rowlatt Act. And everybody knows that incident where police came to him and they wanted to fire him. He opened his bare chest, asked them, if you have dares, guts to fire me, you can fire me. And he became a champion for Hindu-Muslim unity in 1919. When that unfortunate incident of Jallianwala Bagh happened, there was no one to come to take the charge of leadership. Swami Shradhanand took the onus and built the confidence in Indians and took it forward, condemned the act of Jallianwala. And then he, along with Gandhiji, he supported him in Satyagrahas, and he also supported initial days of Khilafat. And most of the people are not aware. In 1919, I think in April, he was the first person, first Hindu saint to go and address at Jama Masjid and recite Vedic hymns. So he was the person who started along with Gandhiji for Hindu-Muslim unity. But when Mahatma Gandhi started this Khilafat movement, we have seen that even drafting committee chairman Balasaheb Ambedkar was against that one. Even Jinnah was secular during that time. He also advised Gandhiji not to get into this, not to bring the religion into Khilafat movement, because it was not part of, it has nothing to do with India or Indians. They forget about Indian Muslims. But Gandhiji insisted because he wanted to do the experiment what he has done in South Africa, and he started asking people to participate in Khilafat movement. And in fact, Ali brothers, what they have done, in disguise of so-called non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement, they started uniting the Muslims. And history, people say that, maybe we say that history repeats again. It's a circular thing. What we are seeing today in Bangladesh, people, what they had that, against the reservations, against the government, they started the movement, and it ended into something, persecution of Hindus. Same way it has happened in Mopla, a place in Kerala. There the Muslims, the thought of after falling of Caliphate, they said that, it has fallen down, and they started fighting against Britishers. But then they converted that fight onto Hindus, persecution of Hindus. And then Swami Shradhanand stood against that one. He started supporting Hindus who were persecuted there. He sent teams of people of Arya Samaj to there. And then they started doing the Shuddhi. They supported them with the financial help and all those things. And unfortunately, he was killed by a Muslim called Abdul Rashid in December 26, 1926, December 23rd. And then, I don't know, history says that Mahatma called him as my brother Abdul Rashid. So there are many contributions of Swami Shradhanand, and not only in education firms, but also in Indian freedom struggle, and mostly for Sanatana of Hindus.
So, viewers, this was the first part of what I had told you, that we are going to talk about the origins of the fight and the struggle. What makes Hyderabad so special, viewers, is that this kingdom spread over 3 regions with 3 different languages being spoken. There were a few districts from modern-day Maharashtra, there were a few districts from modern-day Karnataka, and the whole Telangana today. So what makes that difficult is people had different mother tongues, yet everybody combined for a single cause. That is for freedom. And Nizam was a pretty autocratic ruler. I think 10 to 12% population was Muslim, and they were putting any kind of struggle down with an iron hand. So what makes it special is how, despite all these, the Arya Samaj movement was the one that was sort of like a place where people could get together and carry forward the torch, much similar to like what Bala Gangadhar Tilak used to do, with Ganpati festivals in Maharashtra, to use that festival as a vehicle to keep the struggle, freedom struggle alive. So also I need to mention, before I go to the second section, that Devendra Reddy Garu is a direct descendant of somebody who had actually participated in this struggle. Devendra Garu, next time I come to you, please do touch upon that, your own family, how many people participated. I'm sure there are a few pictures that we are going to be seeing. At the same time, I just request you to do that. Now let us go to Girishji. Girishji, I'm going to now move to the next part of our conversation, and this has to do with what happened during the period 1900 to 1932. Now, Arya Samaj had actively participated in social reforms, as Devendra said. Now, what was the real objective? Was the real objective to try and unify Hindus? Because that was the most important takeaway. Arya Samaj tried to answer all these questions like the way Devendra put. If you cross these, what happens? all sorts of confusion that was there. So tell us a little bit about what the Arya Samaj set out to do in that period and whether they could achieve that goal.
Yeah, just to give you a small background, end of that is around 1892-93, Arya Samaj came into Hyderabad, and 𝗍𝗍𝙗𝘀 𝗍𝙗𝘀, who was one of the leaders of Hyderabad state, he joined Arya Samaj sometime in 1898. And that was the time when Arya Samaj really started working in Hyderabad state society in a different ways. And in fact, I would say that, other than Arya Samaj, there was no organization who was really trying to build kind of a movement in the state. So, of course, along with Keshav Rao, I must mention the name of Vaman Rao Naik, who was his close colleague. And they were the two people who really brought up this movement in the beginning of 20th century. What Keshav Rao realized, he was a follower of Gokhale, who was known to be a moderate leader in the national politics. And following him, what he realized is, before we really bring in the freedom, we must really bring in the education. We have to educate people, and we must really take out all the wrong practices, social practices that we have in the society. And only then it will be easy to really get the freedom. And you really don't have to struggle. Once there is an awareness of freedom amongst the people, there is the struggle will be very easy. That's what he realized, and he started implementing all this in the state of Hyderabad. First thing that he did was, sometime in 1907, he started 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗿 in Hyderabad, which you all must be knowing even today. It is one of the best education organization. So he started 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗿 in 1907. This was one of the first organizations which was educating people in their own mother tongue. So that was there. Then he hailed from Gulbarga. He also had a lot of roots in Gulbarga. So he also started Nutan Vidyalaya in Gulbarga. So that was also a great contribution. Not only that he started these two schools, but he also supported a lot of schools to come up in Marathwada and other parts of Hyderabad state. Some of them, to mention, Saraswati Bhuvan in Aurangabad or Sharda Mandir in Aurangabad. These are the education institutes which he supported all the time. Then he realized that if you really want to go for adult education, because the young people, the young generation will go in the schools, but you also need to educate the adults, and for which there are two things which are important. One is, you need to have a library where people can come, try to read the history and all other aspects of the social events. And another thing is newspapers. Unless you have newspapers in the society, you are not going to get educated. You are not going to get to know what is happening all over the state. So he started one of the first Marathi library that he started in Hyderabad. And he also sponsored a number of libraries which were collecting books in the vernacular languages. Like, for example, Balwant Library in Aurangabad was supported by him. As far as newspapers are concerned, you must be knowing there was a newspaper called Nizam Vijay, which ran almost for about 20-25 years in Hyderabad state, and it had a great contribution in awakening of the society in Hyderabad. Keshav Rao supported 𝗎𝗏𝙎 all along, and he wanted this 𝗎𝗏𝙎 to really give a lot of information to the society about what is happening around. He also supported, it's not only that he supported the vernacular languages, but he also supported a newspaper called Rayat, which was in Urdu, because he realized that if you really want to pass on the information right up to all the people in the state, you should have the newspapers in all languages. So he also supported a lot of newspapers. Another thing which was very important, and Arya Samaj also was for it. There was a lot of caste divide in the society. Like for example, Mr. Reddy discussed about untouchability, and Keshav Rao realized that you should remove untouchability. Then child marriages, that was another issue which he touched upon. The rights of widows was something which he always fought for. And these are the social things which he started Samajik Parishad, which took up all these activities all the time, and they tried to change the society to the extent it was possible. So these were the contributions of Keshav Rao Korotkar. I just gave this as a Keshav Rao as a leader, but this was happening all along, all over in the state. So this was basically the first stage which I wanted to mention about.
Thank you, Girishji. I have fond memories of 𝗣𝗚𝗂𝗐𝗏. I studied at Agarwal Boys High School in Pathargati, Old Hyderabad, and we had a fairly decent debate team, especially in Hindi. We were very good, English also. And our main competition in Hindi used to be 𝗣𝗚𝗂𝗐𝗏. If you defeated 𝗣𝗚𝗂𝗐𝗏, you made it to the state championship. No problems. But it was 𝗣𝗚𝗂𝗐𝗏 is like 4 kilometers from where we were. Khadi mukabla. I mean, we have to beat these guys, otherwise we won't make it. Those of you who are from 𝗣𝗚𝗂𝗐𝗏, also from Keshav Memorial, shout out to all of you. I know a lot of you are in United States now. Fond memories of growing up in Hyderabad. So, Girishji, now I would like to go back to our third phase, which is from 1932 to 1948, liberation, where the action now starts picking up. Devenderji, the Arya Samaj actually initiated and participated in a Satyagraha movement in 1938-39. Give us a little bit background about that. But before that, about your own ancestors who participated in this struggle overall, a couple of generations, I think. 2 minutes about that, and then about the Satyagraha.
Fine. My grandfather, Alwala Balreddy, is an unsung freedom fighter from Hyderabad. At the age of 14 years, he went to Mumbai for first time for participation in Satyagraha upon call from Gandhiji. Second time, at the age of 16 years, he went to Mumbai during civil disobedience, and he was in jail at Pune, Erewada, and we have the certificates of that one. In fact, from then, it happened that Pandit Ramchandra Delvi visited Hyderabad, and he got influenced and took the path of Arya Samaj. Till his last breath, he was with Arya Samaj. And then he was close associate of Pandit Narendra ji. He was started his journey as non-violent, but situation demanded to took the path of what you call Krantikari or militancy, and he was part of Arya Samaj. In fact, I was just talking about the Swami Shradhanand when Arya Samaj lost the tallest of the leaders because of these unfortunate incidents, Pandit Lekram or Swami Shradhanand. Then it was in 1929 something like that, Arya Samaj was formed, so that they'll form their own team to protect the leaders of the Arya Samaj and also the Arya Samajans. And grandfather was part of the team in Hyderabad, and they established Vyamshalas, they established Arya Samaj Mandirs everywhere, and then he was part of Arya Satyagraha, and then he went to jail several times. And then he was arrested for manufacturing bombs in 1947 September. Before the bomb was thrown on Nizam, he used to manufacture and distribute to all the revolutionaries, and then he was in jail for about 13 months for that reason. And he is one of the unsung hero, I can say it, like many of the Arya Samaj leaders from this part, because history of Hyderabad has been hijacked by somebody else who were limited to 3 districts in Telangana.
Thank you so much. And now let's go to the 1938 Satyagraha. But I want to tell you, viewers, I studied in a college called Rupatunga Junior College. It is very, very close to where Keshav Memorial High School is. Also, there is the Arya Samaj temple there, very, very close. What is used to be called Sultan Bazar. I don't know if they have changed name now. Same thing, right? So these are all places, people that I grew up with, and very, very fond memories. Now let's talk about the 1938 Satyagraha movement. Over to you, Devendra ji.
See, in fact, 1938 Satyagraha is one of the landmark Satyagraha, landmark event in Hyderabad. It has built that the platform for liberation for Hyderabad movement. In fact, Sardar Patel has acknowledged about Arya Satyagraha and participation of Arya Samaj. The background of this Satyagraha was that 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝙑 started 𝗣𝗬𝗂𝘁𝘀 branch from Delhi to here, and he brought the 𝗠𝚑𝑆 branch from Lahore to here, a private army, and official farman was issued for mass convergence. And Arya Samaj people countered it with Shuddhi movement, spreading of Arya Samaj activities across the state. And then, as per Narendra Luther, 25,000 Hindus were converted during that time. And as per Pandit Narendra ji in his book, 10,000 were brought back to Hinduism fold. And situation was completely different during that time. People of Arya Samaj were fighting against a king and the private army, which was established by the minister of him. In fact, at one stage, 𝗣𝗬𝗍𝙑 even crossed boundaries beyond Nizam, saying, my faith is more than the king of this land. So that was the situation, and they bravely fought against this forced convergence through peaceful manners. And then it happened that Nizam has issued a circular called 𝗤𝐺𝑖 𝗔53. 𝗤𝐺𝑖 𝗔53 is nothing but, it was curbing the religious and civil rights of Hindus of this place. They said that, you cannot perform Havan in the open place. You cannot hoist the flag of Arya Samaj, which is saffron flag. And if the festivals of Hindus and Muslims are coming together, you need to postpone your festival. And if even during for marriage procession, you need to take permission from them. There are a lot of curbs on civil and religious right of Hindus during that time. And Arya Samaj completely registered this one. And Arya Samaj is the only one platform which stopped or registered Nizam for each and every move which was against the Hindus. So they fought for this one, and it was a voluntary, it was a completely non-violent movement. It has started somewhere in 1938 October. Narendra Swami from Delhi, he came over here and he was arrested in Sholapur. We saw the arrest of many of the tallest leaders. But the local youths, they did not stop it. They did not deter. They did not afraid of what the consequences being faced by raising the Nizam. And there are many satyagrahas which have happened in different parts of Hyderabad state during that time. And Pandit Narendra ji was arrested. He was put in a place called Mananur, which is called as Telangana Kalapani. Most of the people are not aware of Telangana Kalapani, which is in Mananur, which is in Achampet forest area. And then, in fact, my grandfather, along with Gangaram Manapasiji, they participated in one of the event called Begum Bazar Satyagraha. In fact, today we call that, government is doing a lot of spying by installing the spyware softwares in our phones. But during that time, Nizam has picked up the spying on the revolutionaries and activities by engaging the detectives on them. So they was under constant surveillance. My grandfather, it was written even in the book, recently released books also, that he was under constant surveillance and hiding from the police. They were awakened the people of this place. In fact, one of the biggest contribution of Arya Samaj is that, they not only taught the Vedic concepts to the followers, but also created very good orators. They used to instill confidence among the common masses in creating awakening and coming them together for this one. In fact, being part of Arya Samaj, they used to this not only protect the people or Arya Samaj leaders, but also they used to establish the Arya Samaj Mandir, and Arya Samaj Mandir used to have mandatory one Vyamshala. And then there used to be one library. So it was a multiple things which they should do. Multiple things for knowledge, awareness, one Vyamshala for physical, and then again for coming togetherness for performance, one at Arya Samaj Mandir. So it was done in a systematic way across the state. And it was not just, it had just not happened with the police action. There are a lot of resistance with the locals through awakening of Arya Samajas across the state, across three parts of Hyderabad state during that time. Telangana, we are Karnataka, now what we call as Hyderabad, Karnataka, or Kalyan, Karnataka, now it is called as, and the Marathwada areas. So role of Arya Samaj was very great in terms of, it's an intangible contribution in terms of awakening of these people. And this Satyagraha did not happen for one day or 2 days, it happened for 1.5 to 2 years. And Hindu Mahasabha participated. Veer Savarkar sent many volunteers to this place. They also participated in this Satyagraha. They call it as Bhagnagar Satyagraha. And the state Congress, initially they joined the Satyagraha, but unfortunately Mahatma Gandhi thought that it is against a religion, we have nothing to do. So he called up the state Congress. So Arya Samaj combined with Hindu Mahasabha continued this Satyagraha for about 1.5 to 2 years, and they were successful. And in a peaceful protest, through peaceful protest, they're able to build the pressure on the government to revoke that law. And many people died. Many people died in the jails. In fact, jails were not sufficient to arrest these Arya Samajis, which is coming not only from the Hyderabad state, but also from across country. People came from North India. People came from even from Burma also. Different parts of the country, they came here and participated in this Satyagraha in a peaceful manners. In fact, Shamlal Baiji was given poison in Bidar. During that time, he died also. So many people made sacrifices to make it successful. And Hyderabad Satyagraha remains as a landmark Satyagraha in terms of Hyderabad liberation movement, which was a peaceful, complete non-violent protest against a king who has brought a religion, who was curbing the religious and civil rights of the Hindus.
Viewers, I don't know how many of you know this, but today in Tamil Nadu, you cannot carry out any protests on what is happening to Hindus in Bangladesh carrying the national flag. Can you believe it? This is India. This is free India, or it is independent India. Maybe it's not free India, because some people still seem to suffer from the British mindset. The government of the day doesn't allow you to go on processions today. I don't understand this logic at all, and I don't understand why the Home Ministry in the center won't crack the whip. I mean, anyway, let's not digress. I just wanted to get back to you, Girishji. There are other organizations also who participated in this Satyagraha. Maybe you can throw a little bit of light on the other organizations.
Yeah. You see, 1938-39 was time of action all over the state. Apart from Arya Samaj, first of all, it was Congress who started their Satyagraha. And in 1938, when the Hyderabad State Congress was to be formed, Nizam banned the organization. And as a protest, they came out with Satyagraha. So Congress was in action. On the other hand, Hindu Mahasabha was also in action. They also had Satyagraha during the same time. Senapati Bapat, who was from Pune, also came to the state and protested against Nizam during that time. So all these organizations were fighting against a Nizam government. But by and large, Arya Samaj Satyagraha was the biggest amongst all these organizations. In 1939, when Nizam realized that we need to really come to terms with Arya Samaj, and by that time there were 7 leaders of Satyagraha of Arya Samaj were there before that, and the 8th leader was he was the president of Hyderabad State Arya Samaj. He took over as the leader, and during that time, Nizam realized that we need to really succumb to all these the Satyagraha of Arya Samaj, and he agreed for all the demands of Arya Samaj, and that was biggest achievement of Arya Samaj during that period.
Thank you so much, sir. Now let's take a look at the movement is becoming more active, and people are sensing that India is going to get independence maybe in a few years down the road. Talk to us a little bit, Devendraji, about the Razakar movement. When did it start, and how did Arya Samaj counter it?
In fact, after Bahadur Yar passing away, Razakars, or the so-called MIM party, the leadership went into hands of Qasim Razvi. 𝗤𝙗𝘆 𝗲𝘃 was a lawyer who learned from Aligarh University, and he came over here, took the leadership position of the MIM party, and he formed his own battalion of Razakars. He started with the slow Razakars. Actually, it's service to one faith, what they call, but it ended into something else. And he started this army, a private army, and strength grew up to almost up to 2 lakhs. And he started the movement into entirely different way. During that time, people used to have a non-violent movement. People used to fight on issue base. So there were 𝗤𝙬𝗍 riots in 1938, which nobody knows about that one. But by and large, it was a fighting on issue base, which on a dialogues or on Shastrarth with 𝗠𝙧𝙤𝙪 𝗠𝙧𝙤𝘆 also in 1929. But 44 onwards, situation got changed. Before 44, we had a Quit India movement, and leaders like many leaders like Vande Mataram Ramchandra Ji participated in that one. Gaulugada grandfather was arrested in during Ganesh festival. In fact, Hyderabad also has a history of Ganesh festivals. 1895 Ganesh festival started in Hyderabad. So Arya Samaj people, Arya Samaj leaders do not believe in Murti Puja, but they were fighting for the cause of Hindus, and they used to use this platform for awakening of the people in this part of the state. And then Razakar started atrocity on Hindus, forceful conversions, snatching of the jewelry, village after village. Socio-economic or more than the fabric of that society was different. During that time, Hindus were about 85%, and then they were in minority. The objective was to make minority into majority in a forceful way. That was a major objective. And then there was unleashed a terror on a common people who were not equipped to handle them. And then there were many incidents, only 22 to 23 or incidents which were reported, but there were many incidents which not got reported. And Arya Samaj played a role from a non-violent to violent, because there was no choice for them. Somebody is coming with so much of oppression on the common people, there should be somebody to support it. And I'll let you know, Arya Samaj had this history that if somebody believes in the taking oath in Arya Samaj or embracing during that time, they know that what has happened with Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati or Swami Shradhanand or Pandit Lekram, and they were prepared for every consequence. And they had a plan of, they were also awakening, they were creating awakening through mandir, Arya Samaj mandirs and Vayamshalas, and also the libraries. And these Vayamshalas were able to come up building youth to resist the Razakars in different parts of Hyderabad state. And people went underground, Arya Samaj leaders went underground. They started the art of manufacturing, they learned the art of manufacturing bombs. They started giving spears, they started giving all these things to resist in the different parts of it. And grandfather was arrested for manufacturing bombs. When he was arrested, 63 bombs were there. And in fact, Narendra Pawar, Gandaya and Jagdish Arya, they thrown bomb and on Nizam to stop it. Because, one way they were forcing the people to convert, and second way, when we are seeing the phases of independence across country, there are a lot of immigrants from other parts of country to India, not only country, but across globe. Nizam is to bring the people to India, to Hyderabad, so that they can grow in terms of numeric strength.
Where have I heard this before?
No, this is there. It has been written in what you call Narendra Luther book. You can read the book. And it is got discussed in Parliament also, how many people have immigrated from Hyderabad, how many Hindus have immigrated from Hyderabad to Indian Union during that time, and how many people from different parts of country came to Hyderabad. In fact, I don't know whether it is to threaten or to tell the truth, Liaquat Ali has told that 10 lakhs Muslims have came to Hyderabad during that time. He has told this to Mahatma Gandhi as per the conversation, which is written in a book by Narendra Luther about Hyderabad. He is retired as officer. So whenever I'm quoting the figures, I'm giving these things, they are written somewhere. I'm picking up them and giving the information to you. Okay. So this was a situation. This was a situation of Hyderabadis during that time, and there was no choice for the people other than resisting through the arms. And Arya Samaj played a big role in supporting them. And communists also played a role. I should not deny that. Communists also played a role. But initially they started fighting against the feudal system. They started fighting against them. And 1948 March, the ban on communists was lifted. And unfortunately, they took the different part and they continued fighting with government of India till 1951-52. So they got deviated till Stalin said that, Hyderabad cannot be an independent country after seeing the map. So Arya Samaj played a big role in non-violent or also in violent, and they saved many people lives. And also, we cannot describe the atrocities of Razakar. So, some of the places like, most of people are not aware that September 2nd was a flag day for Hyderabad. People are not aware. And September 2nd, in 1947, 15th August, we could not host a flag in Hyderabad. That was the situation. Qasim Razvia hosted the flag at Mojanjay market, Asif Jai flag. And people could not host the tri-flag national flag in this part of place. Most of them are not aware because people even don't know that Hyderabad got liberation in 17th September 1948. Forget the history. And then Parakala incident where 22 people lost life on the September 2nd. And then 𝗣𝗚𝗍 𝗓𝗂𝘍, what we hear about that one. Many people, it's like a small Jallianwala Bagh of this part of Hyderabad state. That incident also happened, and different incidents happened in different parts also. So it was turbulent times for Hindus. Tragedy after tragedy was leaped upon Hindus by these Razakars. And then finally, Sardar Patel intervened and we got the Operation Polo, and then Hyderabad got the liberation 17th September.
Thank you so much. Now let's take a look at another organization called the Pleaders Association. And Giriji, throw us a little bit of light about what the contribution of the Pleaders Association was. And we are also, you can also go into Operation Polo because I think Devendra has already started that. So you can have your say after the Pleaders Association about what you thought took place up until Operation Polo. Over to you.
Yeah, in fact, Pleaders Association also was started by 𝗣𝗚𝗃𝗍 𝗍𝗏𝗃, who was the president of Arya Samaj right from 1932 till 1950, till he became minister when it was unified in India. 𝗣𝗚𝗃𝗍 𝗍𝗏𝗃, what he realized was we have to spread this beyond Arya Samaj. And he himself was a lawyer. So what he did was he brought all the lawyers in the state together, and they went on a strike, realizing that when the lawyers go on a strike, everything will come to standstill. A lot of things are not going to happen in the government. So they went on strike all over the state. All the lawyers went on strike, and 𝗣𝗚𝗃𝗍 was leading it. After going on strike, he realized that okay, going on a strike is okay. I mean, we can do that. But what next? Are they going to sit at home? And what is going to help? So what he did was he converted many of these lawyers into kind of journalists. And what was happening is wherever Razakars were doing their atrocities, these lawyers were going there, making a note of it, making a complete report on what happened there. And this report was sent also to Nizam and to Government of India. And of course, when it was sent to Nizam, it was told that, you need to take an action on this. And when it was given to Government of India, it was told that, look, what is happening in Hyderabad state. It was just before Operation Polo, that is during August 1948. You see, just to give you the background before that, there was a treaty between Indian Union and Hyderabad state that Hyderabad state cannot have their own army, but the all the law and order will be taken care by Nizam is free to do that. If at all there is an emergency, and if at all there is a law and order situation in the state, Indian Union had a right to send their either police or army in the state to bring the law and order back. Now it was very, because that Nizam had already gone to that time. So it was very critical for Indian government to make it sure that before you take any action, you need to put it on paper that the law and order is in doldrums in Hyderabad state. And this Pleaders Association's report became very handy for Indian government, and you will see it in the white paper of Hyderabad, where this report has been put. And Indian government wrote a letter to Nizam saying that not all is well in the state, and we need to take action to take care of the people of Hyderabad. And that is how Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel started Operation Polo, started on 13th September 1948. And within 5 days, the Indian army just marched into the state. And on 17th of September, Nizam surrendered for this. Now, I must tell you that it happened in 5 days, but it would not have been possible without the kind of, the mass movement that was happening all over the state. It was Arya Samaj, it was Hyderabad State Congress, it was Hindu Mahasabha. Everyone was fighting against it. So, there was a complete unrest in the state, and that made the Indian army to make it very easy to conquer the state within 5 days.
Thank you so much. And lastly, Devendra ji, talk to us a little bit about the contribution of Acharya Narendra ji, and then we will wrap up this session. Over to you, sir.
Fine. Pandit Narendra ji, Narendra Prasad Saxena, one of the person, though short in stature, was one of the tallest leader who has galvanized the entire energy of the youth of during that time to protest against Nizam. He gave a call, Paap se daro, papi se nahi. Paap se daro, papi se nahi. That was the biggest call what he used to give. And in fact, whether it was a Shuddhi movement against the tabligh of Bahaduriya Jang, he stood strong against that. And Arya Samaj has conducted many conferences during that time to awaken the youth, to awaken the people of the state against the atrocities of Nizam. It was not only on a spiritual part, but also channelizing energy into one direction. And he was arrested several times, not one time, 2 times. He was arrested for several times. And there was an attempt to kill him also by the police of Nizam and Razakars. And he was injured during that time. And he was brutally lathi charged during one time. And then he was kept under prison at Mananur. I've just said that it's a Telangana Kalapani. And also, if you look at that, the Pandit Narendra ji was toured across Hyderabad state to create the awakening in the people. That was very important. Whether you look at the rights of other parts of state like Nizamabad and all those things, Arya Samaj Karyakartas, including my grandfather along with Pandit ji, used to travel to that place. They used to, collect funds to support the victims of these riots and say that, we are there for you. We are there for you, and do not worry on this one. And let us equip the people of this area to raise such atrocities on these people. He was a great person. In fact, there is a saying that, Nizam has said that, if it was not Arya Samaj which has registered us, it would have been easy path for us. Because before police action also, that, as Giriji was just talking about standstill agreement, Nizam has violated the standstill agreement. And then he's tried to go to UN, he tried to go to buy the, the arms, the smuggling. He made an attempt to buy Goa and to have the seaport, and all those things were there. And you can say that under leadership of Pandit Narendra ji, Arya Samaj has controlled each and every act of Nizam for persecution of poor Hindus in this part. And he did not married, in fact. He embraced sannyasi. He became MLA of Karwan after that one. He was a president of state Congress. In fact, he has conducted the Sammelan of Congress also in Mehndipattam during that time. But without Pandit Narendra ji's leadership, there could have been great vacuum in this part where he has galvanized the youth. Particularly, my grandfather was about 20 years, something like that. What was the age of Narendra and all those things? They were all youngsters. He was such a great orator also. He was a very good orator. And if you just read his bios, you can learn about him, what kind of sacrifices he made to awaken the people again of this part of the state.
You wanted to say something, Giriji? Go ahead.
No, I'm tempted to mention here that Keshavrao Koratkar is my great grandfather, and Vinayakrao Vidyalankar is my his son and my mother's uncle. And I am really proud of all that. So I thought I'll just mention it here. That's all.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. So last question for you, Devendra ji, and then I just add a few concluding remarks. Devendra ji, were the Razakars punished for their action? Was there a Nuremberg trial-like thing that was done by the conquering Indian army?
It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that, in fact, most of the people have done the shaving. Most of the people have joined the common, common stream. And in fact, Qasim Nazvi was tried and did not got the punishment what he was deserving for the atrocities what he has unleashed on the people of this region. And finally, he went to Pakistan, and the party what he has founded during that time is still continuing his survival, and still MIM is ruling the old city of Hyderabad. It's very unfortunate thing. Those people got free. Those people who have unleashed the atrocities, they could not be punished by the free India during that time.
Well, viewers, couple of things. I'm sure you've heard a lot of things today that you perhaps never read, because none of this is captured in our history books. Most important takeaway here is, in addition to all this stuff, some stuff has come by way of movies I wanted to touch upon. One is the book by former Prime Minister Sree PVR Narasimha Rao. It's called The Insider. And there he talks about his own struggles, about how he hid from the Razakars. There's one chapter devoted to that. Do see that. Also, a wonderful movie called Sardar. Don't miss that one. It's on YouTube. Always go back. There's a very accurate portrayal of what happened in Hyderabad. Operation Polo from Sardar Patel's viewpoint. Wonderful movie. And viewers, again, please encourage us by asking us more questions. Girishji and Devendraji will be only too happy to answer your question. You do send in your questions by way of comments, and we look forward to having the two gentlemen back maybe in a few weeks' time, where we can do a follow-up of this, because this is all working towards a very important day. Thank you once again, gentlemen. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar.